All right, everybody. Hey, let's talk about Unit 6, Lesson 8, which actually the entire lesson is going to be our entire book. All right. Um, and so we started to talk about, if you can see on my screen, some like preconceptions. Maybe some of them are stereotypical, but just some preconceptions that you have of what Indian people in India are like, specifically Indian women in India versus Indian American women here in America. And just in thinking about where that information comes from to us, whether pop culture or movies and books or just some looking around, our neighborhoods and some things that we kind of pick up from that. So we started to talk about that a little bit. We'll continue that conversation at our next class. The next thing we need to focus on is this word malady. I don't know how many of you, when you received your book, thought about what the title meant, interpreter of maladies. So I'm pretty sure we know what an interpreter is, but what is a malady? So part of your homework assignment for tonight is to go ahead and look that word up and think about what that means literally, and then think about, well, okay, what could this mean figuratively? We've been talking a lot about the literal versus the figurative in like poetry, right? So what could it mean like below the surface, below um what it says on the page? And then we're going to keep these things in mind. How maladies have both a literal and a figurative meaning, how characters, without even thinking about characters, let's just think about us. Let's think about me. Let's think about you. How we experience maladies in different ways. And then how the word interpreter might affect how we might read or perceive certain maladies. So there's a lot there. We'll get into that more, but just kind of break down our title a little bit and keep these two words, definitions in the forefront of our minds as we read. So here's how our next couple of weeks are going to go. Um, you all will be teaching. Essentially, I will be teaching the first class, and then each of you will take a story. So, this is a book of short stories. We said that in class today. It's not a novel that goes straight through. It's a book of short stories. However, there is a thread that goes all through those stories, and allows us to make some connections between them. So, um, I will teach the first class and I will provide you a model of how your session must go. So, if you can see here, it must have three parts. Part one, and this will be like 3 to 5 minutes. You're going to share your thoughts about the story. Just generally, what did you think? Right? If somebody came up to you and say, "Hey, what was it about?" and "What did you think?" Just what you would say to that person. You're also going to give us a theme in the story. So, like, what is one of the main messages that you feel the author is trying to get through to the readers? And then I like to call these golden lines. I want you to pick out one line, at least one line from the story that just kind of sticks out at you. Like it just pops up off the page and you just can't ignore that line. Whether you just like the way it sounds, maybe it sounds really nice or really pretty, or whether you think it kind of wraps up the whole story, or whether you're bothered by this line and you don't get it. Just a golden line that pops up off the page for you, and you just really can't ignore it. It could be a line, a sentence, two sentences. It's up to you. So that's going to be the first part of your lesson. Now, mind you, the whole class has read this story. So we're all going to read this entire book together. Um, we'll all read like your story. And then when it's your turn to teach, we'll all know what you're talking about because we will have read it. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is going to be kind of the bulk of your lesson. This is part two, where you will facilitate a discussion with the class. So what you're going to do is prepare at least 5 discussion questions, open-ended discussion questions, not yes or no questions, right? Just questions where the class can actually tell what they think and respond. And that's going to be the bulk of your lesson. So if you prepare like at least 5, it'll take up at least at least 10 minutes if everybody's participating. Just a way for you to help the class kind of get into talking about what that story is about. And if you need help with any of this, the questions, anything, I can help you before it's time for you to lead. And then the third part is going to be totally your choice. And this is a part where you can be creative with what you want to do, with how you want to like talk about this, your story. So here are some ideas. You can share a clip of a movie, or you can, or a commercial, or a podcast, or a picture that in some way relates to the story. You can use our whiteboard or anything in our Adobe Classroom to for people to post things or contribute pictures or anything like that. You can write something creatively or share something you've created, a piece of music, whatever, and tell how it relates to the story. Or you can have a family member, you can have mom or uncle or cousin speak really briefly about how they can relate to the themes in that story. So this third part is totally up to you. 5 to 10 minutes, not very long, but you be creative and say, okay, what else can I bring to the table in this discussion about this story? Those are the three parts. I don't want you to worry. I will teach the first one, and we will go through, and I will say, okay, everybody, this is what should be in your first part. This is what it should look like, and so on and so forth. Okay. Um, Grading. If you are the leader for that day, your lesson is going to be worth a performance task grade. Now, the only other performance tasks we've had in this class have been your character dinner party for your independent reading and then your literary analysis paper. So those have been your only two performance tasks so far. This one is going to be your third one for the year. So if you're the leader, it's worth a performance task grade. If you are not a leader, your responsibility is to, number one, read the chapter, have it read before class begins. Number two, annotate. And you can either grab a pencil, not a pen, grab a pencil, and I'm allowing you all to write in the margins of your book, or you can annotate in your Unit 6 notebook. It's totally up to you. If you write in the margins of your book, of course, I'm going to need your book back so that I can give you credit for your annotations. Okay, so you're going to read the story, you're going to annotate each chapter, and then you're going to come to class just ready to participate. Because remember, your classmates have put work into preparing this lesson for you. So you need to be prepared to participate in it. All right. And then when your turn comes around to be the leader, that's when you'll receive your performance task grade on how organized you are, how well you know the events of the story, how prepared you are with your discussion questions, so on and so forth. Okay. And that's why the date for this says April 3rd, because by then all of you will have taught a lesson. And then finally, you all have been assigned one of the stories. Feel free to switch if you want to, but don't come to me and say, I would like another story, because I'm not going to do that. But if somebody would like to switch with you and you all get that together, that's fine. So I'm going to take this first one called A Temporary Matter. And that's actually the one that I want you to begin reading tonight. All right. I want you to begin reading A Temporary Matter tonight. Maybe read half of it tonight, the other half tomorrow. But when you come to class on Thursday, I'm going to show you what a lesson should look like. So, A Temporary Matter, the first one in your book, the first story, needs to be read by class on Thursday. It is about 20 pages. You can do 10 tonight, you can do 10 tomorrow, however you want to do it. Beside each title here is a little synopsis of what the story is about, just to kind of pique your interest a little bit. And then you just need to make sure you read and you're notating. Okay, so everybody's name is here. Some of you have more time than others to get your stuff together. But just make sure when it's your turn, you treat this like a project. It's a big deal. You're going to show some leadership skills. You're going to show some creative skills. You're going to show some organization skills. And I think all of you, I think all of you will do really well in your own way. All of you are strong in your own way. And I really can't wait to see what comes out of this. All right. That is all. Please begin reading A Temporary Matter. It's the first chapter in the book. And let me know if you all have questions. See you later. Thank you.